Welcome back to the first 49 News episode of the 2024 fall semester.
We're very excited to update you on all the stories on campus in Newark and worldwide. I'm Natalie Rulio.
And I'm Emma Schneider, coming to you live from Pearson Studio. This is 49 News. University of Delaware students are mourning the death of a classmate this week. An 18-year-old student was found in the George Reed residence hall through a welfare check. The details surrounding the death have not been disclosed, but students have been assured that there is no public safety threat at this time. We would like to remind Delaware students about the resources provided to us on campus, like Warner Hall and Timely Care. More information can be found on the University of Delaware website.
It has been a very difficult start to the semester for UD students, with a separate undergraduate student dying in a traffic accident on the first day of classes. Campus safety is always a prevalent topic on students' minds, but how do students feel after a tragedy hits?
The University of Delaware's first week back had a tragic start to the semester, with a freshman student being killed by a motorcycle accident on the first day of classes and 4 other witnesses injured at the scene. Unfortunately, this incident is not an isolated issue on the Newark campus, with a freshman student just last year being killed in a similar accident. The university and the city of Newark did not respond when asked for comment, and the university has given the following statement after the incident. Incidents such as this are unimaginably tragic. We cannot express enough how sorry we are for the family, friends, and greater community, as we are also deeply shaken by the sudden loss of one of our own. Our hearts are very heavy today. Students at the university are deeply saddened by this incident, and many want to see change. A petition stating the need to ensure pedestrian safety in Newark and on UD's campus has gotten over 2,000 signatures in the past 4 weeks. It states changes like improving the bus system and adding more crossing guards. The university has not made a statement on the petition or any potential changes that will be happening on campus, but students have a lot of ideas on how we could change campus for the better and resources we could better utilize as students. Many students share the same sentiments about the tragic accident.
I think it's so sad because I picture my first day of freshman year, my parents dropping me off, and to imagine never getting to live out my entire UD experience, or the fact that I'm sure parents probably thought, why did we let her go to college, when obviously no one could have expected that to happen.
With the tragedy, many students have opinions on what the university could do to help remedy these incidents and limit the amount of people who are put in harm's way.
It's hard because it's so late at night, but I feel like we should have crossing guards. Even during like the busy school hours, a lot of people have classes anywhere from 11 to 2, 3 o'clock, so I feel like we should have crossing guards.
And even resources to help students on campus feel safe all the time and not just at night.
So I work with the Blue Hens Cares, so that's what we do. We're like working on trying to get more information out to those about how to be more safe going out and being on campus. I wish people were more educated on it. I wish more people knew about like the buddy system and stuff like that. I wish people didn't walk home alone at night, man or female, because things happen to everyone.
Hopefully in the future, the university can implement more safeguards to help students feel more safe. But for now, the university continues to lean on their motto, stay vigilant. For 49 News, I'm Emma Schneider. A recent report from the Delaware Auditor reclaims a long-standing question of whether UD is a private university or a public government agency subject to transparency laws. The report states that there are risks with dual employment situations and the possibility of a person claiming to be in 2 places at the same time while being paid for the same hours by both employers. The disagreement starts from the $144 million that the Delaware government funds the university with and the issues with transparency laws regarding the university. A 20-year-old University of Delaware student was charged with extortion and unlawful imprisonment this past Friday. The Newcastle County Police stated that a sex worker arranged to meet with the student, but once she arrived, the student threatened to have her arrested and prevented her from leaving until she complied with his demands. The student, Perry, was arrested that same day with the charges related to the incident, but was later released after posting bond. This past Monday, a 5-story building complex was approved to be built on East Main Street. Councilman John Suchanek explains that this project will not interfere with Helen's Sausage House or Starbucks, as that raised some concerns prior. Included in this 5-story building will be 52 apartments along with 78 parking spaces.
The city of Newark is set to be first Delaware community with a speed camera. The new camera is being set up after a 1-year agreement was signed to place a speed camera on Capitol Trail, where over 14,000 vehicles speed over the 5 miles per hour threshold in just 1 week. The revenue from these tickets will be going to DelDOT safety programs. The UD Center of Political Communication will host 3 debates ahead of this upcoming November election. On October 16th, UD will host the Delaware U.S. Senate debate, followed by the Delaware U.S. House debate. On October 17th, UD will host the Delaware Governor debate. Only the Senate and the House debates will have a live audience. All of the debates will take place in Mitchell Hall and will be available for live stream. September 17th marked the 12th annual National Voter Registration Day. The university, doing its part to encourage young voters to engage in this upcoming election, had plenty of giveaways on the green for registered voters. Michael Stoll went out to check it out.
The green was looking a little more patriotic than usual for voter registration day. For students passing by the green, they were in for a surprise treat in return of being a registered voter. The lineup of tents were hosted by a variety of groups and on-campus organizations.
I think it's really important that students get out to vote because it's typically a group that doesn't vote as much as other age groups. And we have a lot of things to say and a lot of things at stake, like environmental protection, healthcare, stuff like that, education, student loans. A lot of hot topic issues impact us directly, so we really want to make sure this population gets out to vote.
National Voter Registration Day, which is typically held on the third Tuesday in September, is held annually as a nonpartisan effort to encourage Americans to register to vote. Since 2012, over 5 million Americans have registered to vote as a result of the national holiday. Here at Voter Registration Day on the Green, there's a variety of topics on UD students' minds as the election nears.
I just don't want to die, if you want me to be really honest with you. I'm not a politics person at all. My family is very diverse. We got both red and blue in my family, but if you want me to be really honest with you, I just want a country where I feel safe walking from my car to my campus or walking from this place to this place. That's what my safety, that's really my biggest thing.
Improvement of affordability of living. I know it's far in the future and I'll be living on my own, but I guess just having some sort of sense of security that I'll be able to do that eventually without too much struggle.
Of course, there's two reasons. One is it's their future, so when it comes to climate change or the economy, it impacts them in the future, so they should vote. And also the candidates are very different on the issues, so I think they can decide how to vote.
As the newest generation of voters gear up to voice their opinions this election season, this event was a perfect opportunity to get the conversation started. The day included cameos from UD, Furry Friends, and U-Dairy, and there was a lot to enjoy. With the help of TurboVote, many students were able to get the ball rolling on voting this upcoming November. Reporting for 49 News, I'm Michael Stoll.
A Main Street staple will be closing its doors after over a century of serving Newark citizens. The Main Street Barbershop closed its door for the final time last Friday after the owner decided to retire after 31 years. The owner said that the feeling is bittersweet after customers became more like family after so many years. The DIAA has used UD facilities since 2013 for their high school football and field hockey state championships. However, in 2024, the DIAA announced they will not be renewing their lease with UD for those events. The DIAA cites UD's rental fee as being too high. Last year, UD reportedly charged over $71,000 for the use of their fields. With attendance seriously dropping off for these state championships in recent years, they're pivoting from the 18,000-seat Delaware Stadium to the 7,000-seat Alumni Stadium at Del State. All this comes at a bad time for UD as they're trying to make as much money as possible before moving to Conference USA next school year. Next up, we have Ryan Coluccio with a Blue Hen Sports Update.
Thanks, Emma. I'm Ryan Coluccio, and welcome to the sports segment. The Blue Hens have started the new season off hot, ripping off 3 straight victories to kick off our last season of FCS football. On Saturday, the UPenn Quakers came into Newark, and although the boys were down double digits early, quarterback Ryan O'Connor was carving up the Quakers' defense. He and wide receiver Phil Lutz connected for a pair of 40-yard touchdowns and finished the day with over 300 yards through the air and 3 passing touchdowns. It wasn't just the passing attack for UD that led us to victory. In the final 2 minutes, running back Jonathan Silver ran in a 13-yard touchdown to put the Blue Hens on top. DB Ty Davis sealed the game with an interception in the red zone to put the boys in victory formation. With a final score of 29 to 22, the Blue Hens sent those Ivy League nerds packing back to Pennsylvania. This Saturday, they look to keep things rolling against Sacred Heart at home at 3:30. As for UD men's soccer, things started off quite hot, winning 4 of their first 6 matchups. However, most recently they lost 2, both being against conference opponents in number 20 Elon and number 23 Charleston. Head coach Tommy McMenemy attributing Saturday's loss to Charleston being too sloppy with the ball and allowing the only goal in the game to come with just 13 seconds left in the first half. Charleston started the game off strong, ripping off 5 shots early, 2 of them being on goal, but goalie Adam Vick stopped 6 of 7 against him, bringing his season save percentage to 65.8%. The boys look to bounce back as they have a massive game against conference opponent the Campbell Fighting Campbells this Saturday, 11 a.m. at home. As for women's soccer, the girls had a tough start to their season, starting 0-4-1. They notched their first win of the season against Richmond on the road. Since that point, the girls have played rather nicely, improving their overall record to 3-4-2. On Sunday, September 22nd, they defeated Hofstra with a score of 2-1. The last time they beat Hofstra was September 25th, 2016, exactly 8 years ago today. The girls got it done with goals from Ava Sally, the first of her collegiate career, and a second-half goal from Maggie Groh, the first game-winning goal of her career. Goalie Kyla Burns stopped 4 of 5 shots on net, and in total, the Blue Hens outshot Hofstra 9-5. The girls look to keep things rolling on the road tomorrow against conference opponent Hampton University. Now on to local Philly sports. The Phillies locked up the NL East on Monday night with a 6-2 win over the Cubs. JT Realmuto and Kyle Schwarber both homered early, and the Phils never looked back. Now they're fighting for the best record in baseball, trying to get the easiest playoff matchup possible. With the way things currently sit, they're 1 game behind the Dodgers in the loss column, and whoever finishes on top will face the winner of Mets and Padres, while the other faces the winner of Diamondbacks and Brewers. Now for the team everybody's pissed about, the Eagles. The Eagles have had quite the mediocre start to the season. They won the season opener in Brazil that some thought was a little too close for comfort. Then they lost the home opener to the Falcons on Monday Night Football. Yes, it was without star wide receiver A.J. Brown, but even he couldn't help that defense. Was that game-winning drive led by Kirk Cousins or Tom Brady? In Week 3, the Eagles were without star wide receiver A.J. Brown for the second week in a row. They played the Saints, and both offenses were essentially dead through the first 3 quarters. Combine Jalen Hurts' sloppy play with Sirianni's questionable 4th down decision-making, and you get 0 points through the first 45 minutes of the game. To start the 4th, Saquon Barkley took a 65-yard run to the house, giving Philly a 7-3 lead. Following a field goal and a touchdown from New Orleans, Jalen Hurts connected with Dallas Goedert for a 61-yard catch and run, which set up Barkley's 2nd touchdown of the game, along with the 2-point conversion, giving the Eagles a nail-biting 15-12 win. Next Sunday, they travel to Tampa to take on Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. That's all the sports this week. Now back to the news.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers at the Port of Wilmington seized over $150,000 worth of counterfeit luxury bags on September 20th, 2024. The shipment arriving from China on September 4th contained 26 purses from brands like Chanel, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton. Authorities confirmed the items were counterfeit after an expert analysis. A week earlier, CBP also seized 277 counterfeit Lululemon belt bags worth $13,000 if they were genuine, from 2 different shipments arriving from China to Wilmington. These seizures highlight CBP's ongoing efforts to stop counterfeit goods from entering the U.S. market. Technology bans in classrooms have been implemented into schools from several states, including Indiana, Florida, Ohio, and more. The question now lies, where does UD stand with technology-free classrooms? Natalie Rulio has a story.
As the school year begins, many students are adjusting to their new classes, new professors, and for some, new rules. Many professors here at the University of Delaware have their preferred methods of teaching, and technology-free classrooms are one of them. Tech-free classrooms are becoming more and more common and has created a lot of opinions. Some pros of tech-free classrooms are that they can allow students to comprehend material better, perform better, and participate more. However, the cons that also come with it include less social interaction, more distractions, and it can cause less memorable learning. After hearing a little bit about both sides, let's see how students at the University of Delaware feel about these tech-free classrooms and if they are experiencing them.
Because I have a professor in a class now that will stop class to be remember that this is a tech-free classroom, and I feel like that defeats the purpose of putting them away. But I feel like they can be really beneficial.
Usually when I'm in class, I look at the syllabus or look at any assignments I have to do just to catch myself up on what I have to do. And so when I can't use it, my computer at all, and that kind of sucks. I'm against tech-free classrooms.
I'm not opposed to them. I think it could be beneficial because sometimes people's phones will go off in the middle of class and stuff like that. I also feel that it's up to the individual person on whether they want to focus on what the teacher is saying or not in the first place.
After speaking with students, it is clear that a majority of them don't prefer technology-free classrooms, although they do see the benefits in them. Now let's shift focus and hear from Professor Ellithorpe on her thoughts of the subject, whether or not she enforces them, and some background research on it all.
A lot of the decision-making around this topic seems to trace back to a study that was done about 10 years ago, and the no-tech condition had a pretty large effect of the students did better. So it turns out that bans seem to help low-performing students, but hinder high-performing students. I don't personally ban, but I also very much see the arguments that my colleagues that do ban have.
While there might be opposing views on whether or not all classrooms should be technology-free, now we know how students and a professor from the University of Delaware feel. For 49 News, I'm Natalie Rulio. TikTok removed multiple accounts that were associated with Russian state media for participating in influence operations relating to the U.S. election. The Department of Justice says that Moscow is a primary threat to the elections. The Department of Justice has also said that they have already taken action against foreign adversaries who are trying to speed pro-Russia content to U.S. audiences. This past Monday marked the start of National Banned Book Weeks. With this, a new report found that more than 10,000 books were removed from classroom libraries this past school year, nearly triple the books as the previous academic year, including popular authors such as James Baldwin, Agatha Christie, and Toni Morrison. The vast majority of these restricted books were on the topic of gender, sex, LGBTQ+ content, or sexual abuse. PEN America predicts an increase in book removal to come. With it being the first week of fall, excitement is buzzing all about the upcoming festivities, crisper weather, and the changing colors of the leaves. Luckily, peak fall foliage is right around the corner. Late October, Delaware should see orange, red, and yellows peeking through every tree. For more on upcoming weather updates, let's head over to Ryan Tatasciore with this week's Blue Hen Weather Report.
Good evening, Newark. I'm meteorologist Ryan Tatasciore with the weather. Starting off with a national headline a bit far from home. There's a strong possibility of a major hurricane striking the Gulf Coast of Florida later into this week. Hurricane Helene is forecast to rapidly intensify in the record-warm ocean waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Coastal communities in Florida will be dealing with many impacts from the storm, including storm surge, winds, and heavy rains. As of right now, it does not seem like the storm will have an impact on our region, but anyone with interest along the Gulf Coast of Florida should be paying close attention to this potentially catastrophic storm. Jumping back to our area, we luckily have a much less eventful forecast. However, we are in a stretch of relatively dry weather as September nears an end. Looking at our drought map, all the state is in the yellow, meaning abnormally dry, with some pockets of orange, meaning moderate drought. We have had some drizzle the past few days, but not enough to change our longer-term dry conditions very much. Jumping to our conditions today, our temperature capped in the low 70s this afternoon, pretty seasonable for this time of year. Right now, we are sitting in the high 60s. This week has finally started to feel like fall, and if you enjoy autumn weather, you've likely been happy with this week. By the start of our 8 a.m. classes tomorrow, we will get back to around 70 degrees. Looking at overnight tonight, the temperature will drop to a mild 66 degrees, with mostly cloudy conditions and a few rain showers around. The winds will be relatively light, blowing around 5 to 10 miles per hour. This week, the sun finally started to set before 7 o'clock for the first time. We're around that time of year where our amount of daylight starts to diminish quickly. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast. We have some chances of rain to finish out this week, with comfortable highs in the mid-70s. The weekend looks generally nice, other than a small chance of some showers Saturday morning. Looking at the beginning of next week, we expect slightly cooler, but still comfortable temperatures, along with the chances for some rain. Thanks for tuning into Blue Hen Weather, and we'll see you next time. We'll be back right after this short commercial break.
#49 News starts right now.
I'm Emma Schneider here with your entertainment news.
I'm Laura Daly here with this week's weather update. We could see the clouds are moving in to the area as the night progresses.
I went out to find out what students really think.
Let's see what students at the University of Delaware have to say.
Here's what you can do to keep yourself safe during this holiday season.
Sadly, that is all we have for you tonight on 49 News.
It's back. We're back.
Penn Sport Night, your University of Delaware sports broadcasting show.
That team from Boston. Just because they got a leprechaun don't mean they're going to be lucky.
How has your experience been playing field hockey here? How magical was the beginning of the season for you guys?
Who are you rooting for this World Cup?
Probably the USA or Scotland.
Watch the play. I don't think I've seen it though. Yeah, you can't guard them. That's not your body.
It's her first time in 10 years. So we're like kind of at the same level.
Welcome to Real Talk.
What is the best Halloween candy?
You had to play a song every time you came into the room. What song would it be?
This movie's bonkers. Let's get right into that.
Yeah. Do you guys like pickles?
No.
I love pickles. I'm so excited.
You see Kanye West as this icon, as this person, and he said some anti-Semitic things. So it's like, how do you deal with it?
There's nothing scarier than a student-run television show with an audience of 13.
Do you mean bi-weekly?
Don't they look stunning?
What?
I don't want to hold you back. Ow!
What now?
McKinley! Shut the hell up!
Let me just leave these babies here, Ricky, while I head on up to the saloon for the hour. I'm just gonna...
I've been your host, Lauren Gapp, and this is the Bi-Weekly Show.
Welcome back, everyone. We've got a lot to cover tonight in the world of pop culture. There's no better time to indulge in all of your favorite TV shows than right now. The start of fall means it's mandatory to be a couch potato. Luckily, there's quite a few new shows that are at the top of the radar. The ever so popular Dancing with the Stars began mid-September. Season 33 geared up with 13 celebrities. Fan favorites dancing on the show included past Bachelor Joey Graziadati, con artist Anna Delvey, 2 Olympians Ilona Maher and Steven Nedorosik, actor Tori Spelling, Reginald VelJohnson, and many more. Unfortunately for Anna Sorokin, or Anna Delvey, whatever you may call the con artist, Tuesday night's episode was officially her last as she was sent home. The first ever season of Golden Bachelorette also recently aired last Wednesday, September 18th. Joan Vassos, a previous contestant on The Golden Bachelor, is this season's shining lady. The 61-year-old from Rockville, Maryland, was introduced to 18 eligible senior men within the first night. The first rose ceremony sent 6 men home, and tonight's episode will take viewers down memory lane as Joan relives her senior prom. Finally, in reality TV news, the new season of The Voice will have some new faces sitting in the judging seats. Alongside Gwen Stefani and Reba McEntire, Snoop Dogg and Michael Bublé will be the 2 new coaches. The season 26 premiere aired on Monday night. But if the movie theater is more your style, new releases include Beetlejuice and Transformers 1. Upcoming in early October, though, is a new Joker film, Smile 2, and Venom: The Last Dance. In some royal news, the Princess of Wales was seen for the first time since announcing she had completed chemotherapy. Kate made her public appearance with Prince William on Sunday, September 22nd, and she announced that she would be undertaking some limited public duties throughout the rest of the year. Back here in the United States, Congress is honoring a country music legend. Last Wednesday, lawmakers had an unveiling ceremony for a brand new statue of Johnny Cash. The large bronze statue was installed to represent Cash's home state of Arkansas. Each state has 2 statues, 1 man and 1 woman, in the U.S. Capitol. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said that adding the musician statue shows that America is about more than just law and politics. Looking ahead to February, we've got the Super Bowl 59 halftime show to look forward to. This year's headline star was recently announced as the one and only Kendrick Lamar. Now, this is Lamar's second appearance during the halftime show after his appearance at the 2022 Dr. Dre performance. Time will only tell which 2 teams will be set to play on February 9th. Now back to Emma with the news.
Thank you, Casey. Iron deficiency can affect every 1 in 3 Americans, and it's going undiagnosed. A study was done with more than 8,000 adults, and 14% of them had iron deficiency. Many do not know that they have low iron in their blood since most doctors don't test for it regularly. Certain people are at a higher risk for iron deficiency, such as pregnant and postpartum women, people with inflammatory conditions, men and women who are at the age of menopause. Common symptoms are fatigue, brain fog, and difficulty concentrating. The Braver Angels debates are back, and students are encouraged to come join the conversation. Last week, their first meeting debated the idea of, is the media trustworthy? Casey Nyman explored it more.
As election season nears closer, concerns have resurfaced about where to get reliable political updates. Students have mixed opinions on the news and its reliability.
Not an avid news consumer, no. I just think it's bad news all the time, so I'm not trying to be,
Honestly, it can be a hit or miss, only because I do think, people are still people, so they may do unethical things about it, or, there's still misinformation, disinformation. Again, the use of AI and how people may go about things, especially even now, okay, make sure you don't use AI for any assignments or whatever, so.
While many utilize TikTok or Instagram to learn about trending topics, the influx of an understanding of media literacy has the new generation seeking out the facts from multiple sources.
I'd say the best thing that you could do is look at multiple news sources and kind of pull together the main ideas to form your own opinion. I wouldn't say I would go to one specific site to be like, oh, I know they're always telling the truth about everything, because I don't know if that's true for anybody.
With election season coming up, the big question on everyone's mind is the media trustworthy to be unbiased? That's what the Braver Angels debate is discussing here today in Gore. The Braver Angels Debates, in partnership with the Center for Political Communication, is an organization that helps facilitate these conversations. Student fellows, alongside a moderator and participants, set up a mock discussion to debate whether or not the media is trustworthy. The open conversation helped bring light to both sides of the tricky debate. Participants are encouraged to snap or tap their feet at the end of their peers' speeches.
Debate kind of format of you're right and I'm wrong and I'm going to give you the reasons. It's more of let's open up a conversation. I'm going to ask you questions, genuine questions, and we're going to try and see like where we can get from there.
With new topics to cover at each debate, the semester is bound to be filled with some engaging conversations.
We have some that regard police, like Newark PD and UDPD, so just safety on campus. We're working through some ideas of maybe talking about Greek life. Of course, AI, it's been a huge thing. We would love to have an open discussion about that, especially in such an academic setting. Like, how can AI be used, or should not be used in academia, or things of that nature. I think those were our upcoming ideas, but we still have to kind of work them out.
For those looking to get involved with the Braver Angels debates, whether it be as a student fellow or a debate participant, Jordan Arrington will keep you in the loop. Reporting for 49 News, I'm Casey Nyman.
The U.S. is cracking down on cheap Chinese goods sold on websites such as Temu and Shein. The bargain prices offered by these two websites are in jeopardy as trade tensions increase between the world's two largest economies. Both platforms have experienced massive growth in recent years, but the White House says it is planned to narrow the loophole to strengthen protection for American consumers. Two Spanish astronomers recently discovered an asteroid that will be pulled in by Earth's gravity to create a mini-moon by the end of this week. The 33-foot-long asteroid poses no safety threat and will only be in the Earth's orbit for 56 days. While the human eye will not be able to detect the mini-moon, astronomers will be able to study its composition and rotational patterns to give more insight to these space rocks. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Make sure you keep up with us on socials at 49 News.
Our next show will be on Wednesday, October 23rd, same time, same place. For 49 News, I'm Emma Schneider.
And I'm Natalie Rulio. Have a safe night, Newark.